Okay, so what I want to do now is kind of continue our coverage over the dawn of DC. And with that being said, we got to play a lot of catch up. And so, with that being said, we're going to jump back over to some good old Green Lantern. Now, technically, we already covered the first two issues of this actual series and also its Night Terror tie ins as well. But now it's time for us to at least wrap up our coverage over the final parts of Volume 1 of the brand new Green Lantern series that was part of the launch of Dawn of DC. Now remember, when it comes to Hal Jordan, he's back on Earth right now, but some things have changed for him. For example, the whole idea that the Guardians are no longer around. And the reason why, because they have been replaced by the United Planets. Now, when it comes to the United Planets, they had decided that Sector 2814 of the universe is no longer safe. And of course, that sector would be where Earth is in. And so they had decided to replace or reassign all the Earth lanterns to different parts of the universe. Now, for Hal, that's not okay because now he hates the idea that his home world no longer has a Green Lantern to properly protect it. And so, for Hal, he decided to protest and quit the actual Lantern Corps. Now, when he did quit, he went back to Earth but with no ring at all. Now, in the first two chapters, we learned how he was able to get a new ring. He ran into somebody who has some Manhunter armor on. Now, the Manhunters were robots that were created by the Guardians before they had made the Green Lanterns, when they were trying their best to protect the universe. The problem was the Manhunter plan did not work out very well, but somebody found some Manhunter armor suits, decided to put it on, and become a new bad guy called Steel Fury, and fought against Hal Jordan. When they had fought, they hit Hal with enough willpower energy. And with that type of energy, you had Hal being able to take that energy and turn it into a brand new Green Lantern ring to allow him to be a Green Lantern once again. And so today, we're going to wrap up our coverage over Volume 1, but also kind of learn a tad bit more about this new ring that Hal was able to create. Also, we see the return of Sinestro, who has a different type of ring than his usual ring. Now, in the opening pages for Green Lantern issue number 3, we actually pick up with, well, Hal Jordan right now in the past, still kind of learning more about his brand new ring. Like, for example, the whole idea that he's not really able to fly too far away from the planet Earth. In the past, he was able to travel across the universe. Now, he can't do that. And he realized that if he tries to, the ring will just turn off. And so he's kind of wondering what kind of power did he actually absorb when it came to that Manhunter armor suit. Now, once he does go back down onto the Earth, his ring does reactivate just in time before he hit the ground pretty hard. Now, he also realized that the ring is able to do some new things, but also some old things as well he did in the past with his old rings. But either way, he's still happy about the idea of at least being a Green Lantern once again. But now we have to pick up with Sinestro. Now, when we do, it's really more Sinestro going over to this office building and actually attacking these what seems to be innocent people. Now, the reason why I say it seems to be because they're not actually innocent people. They are aliens in disguise who are most likely trying to, sooner or later down the road, trying to invade the Earth. Either way, for Sinestro, he says, listen, I need your guys' help, and you guys are going to help me. Now, these other aliens, they're kind of ignoring Sinestro because they realize that right now he has no true power over them because one, his ring is powerless, but two, the Legion of Doom is no longer scary to the rest of the bad guys across the entire universe, it seems like. And so for these aliens, they're kind of like, you have nothing on us. You can give us anything at all that would make us actually want to help you. But then he says, listen, if you don't help me, I will tell the superheroes where you guys are stationed at across their planet. And sooner or later, they'll find you guys and bring you guys down. And there goes your master plan down the road. And so, of course, they begin to help him out whatever he needs with. And so we kind of find out that he just wanted some more aliens on his side. And the reason why I'm saying that because you actually have these aliens help him attack Ferris Airport. Now, the reason why he's attacking this airport is to find the new planes that Carol Ferris had just received. You see, these new planes are your usual jets. These are actually drones that are being controlled by people back at her base so that they're not in danger when it comes to flying these new jets across the world for different kinds of missions. But either way, it does seem like Sinestro has some big plans for these actual drones. The question is right now, what is that plan? But getting back over to Hal Jordan, we actually see him just out there having fun, relaxing, because he has no idea Sinestro is currently out there. And so we see him playing some baseball with some kids in the nearby town, whatever. And also Kilowog is there as well to help cheer the kids on. But once that is done, he gets a text from Carol saying, "We need to talk." And so for Hal, he has no choice but to go ahead and hurry over there to see what does she want to actually talk about. And so we kind of find out that the reason why she had called Hal over was to tell him about, well, basically what happened last night at her airport. The whole idea Sinestro had technically attacked her place. Now, for Hal, at first, he was kind of hoping that maybe, just maybe, she wants to rekindle their love. But let's not forget that she got a new man. Matter of fact, a new fiance. She's trying to move on from Hal, but she's also kind of like, look, you came back into my life, and so did he. And I want to know what he's up to. So, Hal, I need you to handle this. And so, for Hal, he knows what he has to do. Now, for Hal, it's not just the idea that, okay, Sinestro went after Carol's business. No, he has other reasons to go after Sinestro. Apparently, something big happened on a different planet that involved other Green Lanterns like Kilowog. Either way, you have Hal go to a nearby bar and just wait and wait until you have Sinestro walk into the bar as well. And now it's time for them to have a small conversation with one another. So as we dive into the next chapter, we actually pick up with Hal Jordan and also Sinestro at the bar. Now, like I said earlier, Hal is very angry with Sinestro. He's actually thinking of killing him off. But you have Sinestro say, "You can't kill me because if you try to, well, guess what? I'll hit this button and I have bombs placed across your city. If those bombs go off, there goes your town completely." Now, let's not forget, for Hal, it's more the idea that he wants to kill off Sinestro for something he did in the past on a different planet that involves Kilowog. Either way, you have Sinestro tell Hal what he wants. He said, "Listen, all I want is your ring because I want the ability to get off this world because my ring is currently not working." And so now we know that his yellow ring is not working and he needs Hal's ring to actually escape. Now, Hal, he does give over his ring, and you have Sinestro try to use the ring. But that is the moment you have Sinestro realize the ring is not going to work for him like it does for Hal. And so for Sinestro, he believes that Hal was playing mind games with him, that Hal was trying to trick him. But in reality, it's Hal showing you like, hey, you can have my ring, but this is a new kind of ring that does not work like the old ones do. And so unfortunately, you can't use my new ring. And so for Sinestro, he gets ticked off, he hits the button, and now the bombs are going to explode very soon. Now, for Sinestro, he truly believes that he has won here because he knows that the Green Lantern Hal Jordan is not that fast to find all three bombs, but to also be able to actually defuse all three bombs. But you know who is fast? Barry Allen, the Flash. And so for Hal, he calls in Barry, and just like that, you have the two characters actually work together to find all three bombs that were placed across the city. And once they find all three bombs, bam, all the bombs are easily handled and taken care of. Now, for me, I kind of like the idea of seeing Green Lantern and Flash working together once again because it's a huge callback to over the years these two characters working together, but also their friendship to one another. But with them now being done with the bombs, you did have our two heroes try their best to look for Sinestro. Now, unfortunately, they couldn't find him. He knew how to disappear just like that. But for our heroes, even though they can't find Sinestro, they do realize that they need to know what he's exactly up to. And so let's not forget, when it comes to Barry Allen, he works at a crime lab. And so you have Hal and Barry head over to Ferris Airport to allow Barry to do some CSI work to figure out what in the world is Sinestro possibly up to. But here comes the problem for our heroes. When they get back over to the airport for Ferris Airport, they can't figure out what Sinestro was trying to do to the actual planes that are brand new to Ferris Airport. And so you have our two heroes wondering, when is he going to actually attack? Because they can't find any kind of clues that were left behind at the airport that could possibly tell him what Sinestro is up to. Now, you do have Carol walk into the room. Let's not forget that right now she is, engaged to another man. She is the ex-girlfriend to Hal. And so for Barry, it's kind of like, this is awkward because over the years, Hal and her used to be together. They would hang out with Barry and Iris. But right now, it's kind of like they really can't hang out with one another because how things are. But she also tells Barry and also Hal, I need you guys to figure out what Sinestro is up to. But then you have Barry saying that he's hearing reports of things happening in a nearby town. So you have our two heroes leave, thinking that it could possibly be Sinestro. And really, it's just another villain going crazy in the city. And so you have our two heroes being able to work together once again to kind of take down this super villain. And it kind of says, like, hey, even though it's not Sinestro, they're still heroes. And they got to take care of this problem right now. And so you have our two heroes work together, beat the bad guy. But now it's time for our two heroes to have that brother to brother moment, that bro to bro conversation with the whole idea of what Hal should do when it comes to Carol. And really, the conversation is really more of Hal saying, like, he still loves Carol. He wants to be with Carol. But the problem is, Carol does not want to be with him. Carol, right now, wants to be with her fiance. She's trying her best to move on from Hal. But as Barry's saying, you just got to keep trying. You just got to continue to give her that good old Green Lantern Hal Jordan charm. And maybe, just maybe, she'll come back to you. Now, Barry has to leave because, well, Iris. But for Hal, it's kind of like, okay, is he correct? Is there actually a chance for us to get back together? But getting back over to Ferris Airport, like I said earlier, these planes are just drones. And so they can be controlled by somebody else in a completely different location. They don't have to be inside the actual jet. And so we learned that what Sinestro had actually did. He uploaded a virus so that he can now control those jets from his base. And his main goal is to use those jets to bring fear into the earth. Now, when it comes to Sinestro, what he is trying to do is bring fear into the actual world because for his ring to actually work, you got to have fear out there in the universe, or at least on the planet that you are on, because he's part of the emotion spectrum. And so for him right now, he's kind of like, listen, if the only way I'm able to leave is to cause fear, I'm going to use the jets right now to bomb different cities across the world. And while you have those folks out there scared out of their mind, that means all that fear will come towards me. And once that fear comes towards me, I can finally get off this crazy planet. Now, for Hal, he does quickly get involved in this mess by trying his best to take out the jets before they're able to continue to bomb different cities across the world. Now, he is able to take out at least one jet, but then you have Sinestro initiate the cloaking devices on each of the jets to hopefully hide from Hal, but also any help he's getting right now from Carol and also the military. Now for Hal, he is able to use the ring to actually find some more jets, but still, there are a lot of jets out there that are just bombing cities left and right, and it's causing a lot of problems. Now for Hal, he kind of realized what Sinestro is trying to do here. Like I said earlier, he's trying to bring fear into the world so that he'll be able to actually escape and get off Earth and go back home to his world. And so what you have Hal do is find a nearby news reporter so that he is able to actually go live. Because when he does go live, he's then able to give a speech out to everyone out there who's possibly listening, saying like, hey, listen, this attack right now is being done by Sinestro. He's trying to initiate fear in all you guys to power up his ring. But the thing is, we are humans. We are the one race in the entire universe that may get scared, but then we pick ourselves right back up again instantly because we all have that courage to carry on to fight against whatever we're fighting against that's trying to bring us down. And so he's trying to install courage to everyone across the world to get rid of the fear, because without that fear, then Sinestro won't be able to actually charge up his ring. Now, for Hal, once he's able to actually give out that speech, he does fly away and continue to try his best to find the other jets out there across the world. And so you have Hal and also Carol, her team, being able to work together to find the other jets. And so once they find the other two jets across the world, he's able to take them out. Now, I do want to mention the fact that for Hal, it's kind of cool because what he did was he created two constructs and had those two constructs travel across the world. And it kind of shows this new ring is very powerful in some areas rather than others, because for Hal, that was the first time he was able to actually send out two constructs across the world to take care of two different problems at once. But yes, he did take care of the last few jets, but now he's able to go find Sinestro. Now, when he does find Sinestro, it's really more of like, hey, you know what? You failed, I stopped you, and now it's time for you to pay for what you have done to all those cities across the world that you had officially bombed. But for Sinestro, it's more of like, listen, I came to you, Hal, for help because I came to your world powerless. My ring no longer worked. Matter of fact, I walked up to a young girl. Instead of her being scared of me, she smiled at me. And that showed there's something wrong. There's no fear across the world. There's something wrong with the emotional spectrum. Now, for Hal, it's kind of like, okay, I kind of get the idea that you needed my help, but at the same time, like, the way you ask is completely wrong. But it's still Hal still feeling somewhat sad for Sinestro. But for Sinestro, he's all like, you know what? I'm done. I don't need fear anymore. Now all I need is rage. And so you have Sinestro being able to actually tap into the rage emotion of the emotional spectrum, technically becoming a Red Lantern, it seems. And so, really, the final chapter of this storyline is really more of Hal just fighting against Sinestro. Now, their battle, it does go back and forth, but it really shows how powerful Sinestro is when he had tapped into the rage emotion, being able to create so many different kinds of constructs that Red Lantern can create with their rings, but also trying to use those constructs to destroy the entire world. Now, you do have Hal being able to step in and actually fight against Sinestro, but he also realized that what Sinestro said earlier is true. There's something wrong with the emotional spectrum. But on top of that, when it comes to Sinestro, he's releasing so much energy around him that he is destroying things around him left and right in a very huge radius. And so you have Hal just trying his best to contain all that energy before innocent lives are officially lost. Now, I'm not going to sit down here and explain every single detail of the battle. Just know that it does end with Sinestro leaving the Earth like he wanted to. Now, for Hal, that is a problem because he wanted Sinestro to stay on Earth so that he would be able to actually investigate what in the world is going on with the emotional spectrum. But also, how can I follow Sinestro because his new ring does not allow him to travel across the universe. And so he's just stuck and wondering what in the world is going on. But getting back over to Hal going home, you have Hal talking to Kilowog. Now, like I said earlier, something happened to Kilowog on a different planet involving Sinestro. And so it's kind of weird to see Kilowog there. And so you have Hal be confronted by another lantern, and his name is Razor. And you have Razor tell us, like, hey, what are you doing here, dude? Like, first off, you're a Green Lantern. But on top of that, Why are you talking to a Kilowog construct? And so now we get the official idea that Kilowog is dead. And apparently it's been dead for a while. And it's all Hal's fault. And that'll be told to us in a different story. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.